Week 12 happened. It was a crazy day. Lots to get into, lots of frustration today. I'm going to vent a little bit and get into all of the games with my instant reactions for this Sunday slate. Before I get into it, please hit like, subscribe, comment below, share this video, visit walterfootball.com for tons of content. We have NFL picks against the spread, and hopefully every week we're not going to get backdoored on multiple occasions. We have 2026 and 2027 NFL mock drafts. We have fantasy football rankings, NFL power rankings. We grade every signing. We grade every trade. It's all at walterfootball.com, and it's all free. All right, so let's get right into it. We get the Sunday games. Well, actually, we're only going to do the Sunday games. Chiefs 23, Colts 20. The Colts are up 20-9 in this game. The Chiefs made a lot of mistakes early on. They had some penalties. There was a penalty that shouldn't have been called on the touchdown. They screwed up in the red zone quite a bit, and then they just fought back. Daniel Jones just had nothing going in the fourth quarter and overtime. I believe he's up to like 20 yards total. That whole offense, 20 yards total in the fourth quarter. It's just brutal. Just a brutal showing by the Colts here. It could have really established themselves as a primary player in the AFC, and they still have a great record. But they have some tough games coming up. They still play the Texans twice. And if they lose to the Texans and the Jaguars win next week, they're going to be tied. So suddenly Indianapolis's lead is just going to vanish. Jonathan Taylor is held in check. So the Chiefs had struggled before against the run, and this was an impressive showing for them, just holding on Taylor. And I think we could say goodnight to Taylor's MVP consideration. And it just goes to show why running backs can't win MVP. The Colts are trailing. They can't go to Jonathan Taylor. Like, they just can't. It has to be in Daniel Jones, who had almost double the amount of pass attempts compared to Taylor's rushing attempts. So, I mean, Taylor's still probably going to win Offensive Player of the Year, but MVP is pretty much done at this point. And the Chiefs stay alive at 6-5. And I imagine most teams can't be happy about that, because the Chiefs are still a scary team to face in the playoffs, because that's when they play their best. Patriots 26, Bengals 20. This is the first of our two backdoor covers. The Patriots are up 10, despite throwing a pick six early. It's a weird lob pass. We haven't seen that from Drake May. The Patriots did get one back on a pick six, so they were up. Was it like 23-13, I believe? And then the Bengals, they scored. First of all, T. Higgins got concussed. And then on the same drive, the Bengals scored a touchdown to someone named Mitchell Tinsley, actually playing him in DFS this week. But that was so tilting, because the Bengals had done nothing the entire game. Before that touchdown, they had 6 offensive points. The Patriots just held them down the entire time. And it felt like the Patriots could have scored more. They had 10 snaps at the Cincinnati 1-yard line, and they couldn't get into the end zone on any of those 10 snaps. They only tried to sneak once. I actually tweeted, I'm like, have the Patriots heard of the play QB sneak? That was really frustrating. If they just score once, if they get one touchdown on those 10 plays, we covered the spread in this game. The Patriots win 30-20, or actually 33-20, depending on which drive we're talking about. Man, that was so tilting this whole game. The Patriots should have covered. It's only -7 at the end. Like, it's very doable. It wasn't a double-digit spread. We were robbed of this one. We had 5 units in this one. This one hurt. We've had so many bad beats this year, and this is yet another one. I'm definitely on my way to publishing a book called The Year of the Bad Beat. After the season, I can't do it during the season. I'm just way behind everything with everything I have to do for the season, like everything with the site, the fantasy rankings, power rankings, picks, etc. The shows we do, the live streams. But once the season's over, I'm going to start working on this book once my free agency rankings and stuff like that are posted, and my fantasy rankings for next year. So anyway, just this is really tilting one, and we had another tilting one later. I would have been tilted by this one had we bet the Ravens. We did not, luckily. Ravens missed the cover for the second week in a row by half a point. It was 13.5. They won by 13 last week. It was 7.5. They won by 7. Just feels like they're doing just enough not to cover the spread. But of course, football can't be fixed, right? So we can't look into this one at all. Lamar Jackson's not running. That's definitely noteworthy. He did run more than he did last week, but his scrambles are just not effective. I believe I had the stats here. He scrambled 7 times for 11 yards. That's not Lamar Jackson. He's dealing with something. Last week he had a knee injury on the injury report this week was an ankle. I don't know. Maybe it'll be a heel next week. I don't know. But the fact is he's not healthy, and also Kyle Hamilton got hurt late in this game. So the Ravens, the good news is that 6-5, they won 5 in a row. The bad news is that Lamar's not healthy, and if Lamar's not healthy, they don't have a chance to go deep into the playoffs. But it's only November, so he has a chance to get healthy later in the year. Bears, man, we don't have a score on this one. Who's editing the site? Man, this guy needs to do a better job. Just kidding. We don't have an editor at the moment. For those of you who don't get the joke, the score of this game was I know the Bears won by 3 because we pushed the Bears. I believe it was like 27. No, it was 31-28. Bears won 31-28 against the Steelers. The Steelers got a backdoor push of sorts, but they were winning for a good chunk of this game. They're up, I believe they're up 14-7 and 21-14. So, I wouldn't say this was a lucky push or anything like the Steelers. I felt like were outplaying the Bears for a while, but they had a couple turnovers. Mason Rudolph, a legitimate turnover early on with an interception, and then they had one turnover later. It was, I believe it was, it was a fumble kickoff. Maybe I'm getting crossed up here, but between the other NFC North game. But anyway, so the Bears once again have benefited from turnovers. They still have a negative point differential on the year. They're -2 on the year, which is unbelievable for an 8-3 team. I don't think we've ever seen that from an 8-3 team, just having a negative point differential. Although I don't know if Minnesota a few years ago with 13-4, or maybe I think 13-4, they may have had a negative point differential. I'm not sure, but yeah, Chicago has gotten super lucky. This is not going to keep up. Eventually, it's going to hurt them, like that Minnesota team. They collapsed late and they lost in the first round of the playoffs. If the Bears make the playoffs, there's a good chance they're gonna be one and done. So, but I guess like the good news is that they could get healthy defensively later on. They have a lot of injuries, but they should get some other players back soon. The bad news is that they have to play against the Eagles on Black Friday probably without some of their defenders. So the Eagles coming off a loss too, which we'll get to in a bit. Lions 34, Giants 27. This was a loss for us as well, big loss, but it's a legitimate one. I had a concern heading into the week that the Lions might look ahead past the Giants because they had the Packers on Thanksgiving just 4 days later. But I thought that given that they were coming off a loss, given how well Dan Campbell has rebounded off losses, I thought they'd be fine. But I was dead wrong about that. And they just were a no-show defensively. Jameis Winston did whatever he wanted to, at least in the first half. And then they had that weird touchdown where Olszewski threw a pass to Winston, and he had a spin move and a stiff arm, and he scored on a 33-yard touchdown. It was unbelievable. But the Lions, they at least clamped down other than that in the second half, and Jahmyr Gibbs got going. Felt like if they went like another quarter and a half, or maybe just even a quarter, the Lions could have covered the spread. But they just ran out of time. They went to overtime. So, yeah, they just I felt like it was a no-show for the defense. And mostly the offense. The offense really struggled to move the ball too until the second half. So it was like a team effort to play poorly in this game, but they still won. Which I guess they won't learn their lesson. They may take another team lightly later in the year in this sort of situation. So we'll see if that happens. Not that they play another Thanksgiving game again, but like if they have a look ahead to another tough opponent, then they may look past that team because they haven't been punished yet for that. So anyway, we have our second backdoor cover here: Seahawks 30, Titans 24. The score says it's close, but the Seahawks led 23-3, and they also led 30-10. They had a backdoor at the end. Again, second time in 3 weeks the Titans have gotten us with a backdoor cover. It's the first one with the Chargers, and both games involved a punt return for a touchdown. So it's kind of crazy. The Titans still lost this game with a backdoor cover and a punt return for a touchdown. That's how bad this team is. But yeah, it's just Chamari DK is just single-handedly robbing us of thousands of dollars here. Just ridiculous results here. The Seahawks just pure domination in this game, and they did take their foot off the gas in the second half, which they did against Arizona as well. Didn't cost them there, but it did cost them against the spread here. But they still won. So I guess that's all they care about. But yeah, it was like I think the Titans scored their backdoor cover with like 18 seconds left or something, just super tilting. Just a minute less, and we would have gotten the win here at 13 instead of 6. So yeah, just a brutal week for Luck. It was just awful. We got this one way wrong. Now it was only 2-unit pick. Packers 23, Vikings 6. I argued that the Vikings were better at most positions here, not quarterback, obviously, but the quarterback was the big disparity. JJ McCarthy sucks. He sucks so much. You know, we were joking that he got bailed out by Shador Sanders starting. Now he can't be the worst quarterback in the NFL. Well, Shador won and McCarthy did not, and he couldn't even get to 100 passing yards. He had full game in the NFL with all the pro passing rules. He had 87 passing yards with Justin Jefferson, TJ Hawkinson, Jordan Addison, and against a defense that's just mediocre and a defense that couldn't stop Jameis Winston last week. Man, I don't know. I don't know what you do with him. I guess you keep playing him, and it's either way, it's a win-win, I guess, because if McCarthy improves, then you can use this as momentum for next year. If McCarthy continues to suck, then the Vikings are going to have a top 10 pick, and maybe they'll get someone like Caleb Downs, or if they like one of the other quarterbacks, maybe they'll just give up on McCarthy, kind of like the Cardinals gave up on Josh Rosen when they took Kyler Murray the next year. I see nothing for McCarthy. I thought he was a third-round prospect when he was playing in Michigan, and I thought maybe he'd go second round because of his playoff run. And then suddenly there's conversation about him going top 10, which I'm like, I don't understand that at all. I guess I don't know what Kevin O'Connell saw in him. He had Sam Darnold on the team last year. He had Daniel Jones on the team last year, and he chose JJ McCarthy. And he had a chance to get Aaron Rodgers this offseason, which Aaron Rodgers kind of sucked this year, but still he would have been better than this. McCarthy with Shador winning today might be able to say he is now the worst quarterback in the NFL, even worse than Shador Sanders, which is a very sad state of affairs. All right, so Cowboys 24, Eagles 21. Another blown lead by the Eagles. They do this all the time, it seems, and I think it's because they can't run the ball. 22 yards for Saquon Barkley against the Dallas defense that's not that good. They are better with Quinn Williams and Logan Wilson. They have improved against the run, but 22 yards is inexcusable. 10 carries for Barkley. They didn't try to run the ball. Hurts threw 39 times. The Eagles are not going to win the Super Bowl if they do this. Like they can't hold leads. They blew a lead against Denver. They blew a lead in several other games this year. Can't remember off the top of my head what they were. I'll probably remember them in a second. Yeah, they just can't do it. The Chiefs, they almost blew a lead late in the game. Lions like almost they made things interesting at the end of that game. The Buccaneers were the Eagles were way up in that game, and the Buccaneers brought it to 6. The Vikings had a chance to win at the end with Carson Wentz. They certainly wouldn't have with McCarthy, but still. So this is yet another instance of that. And like I said, it's because they can't run the ball. They can't close out the game. And so teams can just come back, and credit the Cowboys for doing that. Dak Prescott was great in the second half. Pickens was amazing. Dallas won. They kept their season alive. I don't really think they had much of a chance to make a deep run, but at least they'll have a chance to sneak into the postseason. And like I said, the Eagles really need to fix their run blocking. Lane Johnson will be back by the playoffs, which will help. But Barkley 10 for 22 is definitely not going to cut it. Plus the Eagles committed some fumbles as well. Here we go. Shador Sanders Bowl. Browns 24, Raiders 10. Shador had some nice throws in this game. He rolled out that one play and threw a deep pass. He connected deep with Jerry Jeudy in one instance. He didn't drift back in the pocket. He did a little bit, but he didn't do it nearly as much as he did last week. But still, he only completed about 55% of his passes, 11-20. It wasn't a great performance. And keep in mind against the Raiders, who just are just so bad. But Shador Sanders, he was better than McCarthy on this day, which, I guess you could have gotten a fan from the stands. It would have been better than JJ McCarthy. Geno Smith got sacked 10 times in this game. when Myles Garrett got 3 sacks and 2 forced fumbles. I think he's clinched Defensive Player of the Year. Heading into this week, Garrett was minus 330 to win Defensive Player of the Year, and I can't even imagine it's going to be less than 500, minus 500 now. He has a great chance to beat the sack record, and it seems like he's going to do it. I was actually kind of disappointed he only had 3 sacks in this game. It's kind of wild to say, but I felt like he could have had more. And I'm sad that there were no defensive touchdowns in this game. We bet both and we parlayed both, and neither happened. But it seemed like they're so close. Like in one play, a Browns receiver stumbled, and like the Raider Raider cornerback almost had a chance to break on the ball. Didn't happen. Geno Smith floated some balls to the outside that could have been pick six. It just, it didn't happen. I feel like if they played like 6 or 7 quarters, we might have seen some defensive touchdowns, but didn't happen. Ashton Genty got banged up at the end of this game too, by the way. So worth keeping an eye on if you have him on your fantasy team. Jaguars 27, Cardinals 24. I would consider this somewhat of a bad beat, not like a terrible one like the others, the Seahawks and the Patriot games, but anytime you have an underdog and you go to overtime, it kind of feels like you have the right side. We had Arizona +2, and it was +3 earlier in the week, and I'm just kicking myself for not getting it. Should have locked it in. Just took me a while to like really like fall in love with this game. Maybe not like fall in love. I liked it quite a bit. And at +3, I would have bet more on it. So I guess it wouldn't matter. It would have pushed, but yeah, we got +2 instead. And the Jaguars, who really nearly threw this game away on multiple occasions. Trevor Lawrence threw 3 picks. One wasn't really his fault. Like the pass was ripped out of Jacoby Myers' hands, but the other 2 were really bad. And Lawrence also had a strip sack that was returned for a touchdown. It was 4 turnovers by an underrated Arizona defense, ranked 12th in the NFL in EPA. But the Cardinals, they had a chance here, and it just didn't get there in overtime. But yeah, the Jaguars did the same thing they did in week 2, where they were up 3, and they had like a 4th and 4, or 4th and 5 or something, very late in the game, and they could have kicked the field goal to make it 6. The margin 6, and they didn't do that in the Bengals game, and really Brian Thomas dropped the pass on that down, and the Bengals drove down the field and won. And in this game, Arizona took the ball and kicked the game tying field goal to send it to overtime. Had the Jaguars just gone up 6, there's a chance they just would not have gone to overtime. And I don't think Liam Cohen kind of understands game management. Seems like pretty bad. Anyway, next game. Falcons 24, Saints 10. So much for the Falcons season being over. I think everyone wrote them off for dead when they lost Drake London and Michael Penix Jr. Kirk Cousins actually played well in this game. See that in his stats, he threw an interception. That wasn't his fault. It bounced off Kyle Pitts' hands and went back for 6. But the Saints gave the Falcons some free points or free non-points. Like they had a turnover that set up a score. They missed 2 field goals. I thought the defense did an okay job overall until late. They kind of like gave up. They gave up a touchdown drive late, but overall they did fine. But their offense just didn't do very much. Alvin Kamara got hurt also. He got hurt very early in this game. That definitely impacted their game plan. Although Devin Neal didn't do much of a runner, but he caught 5 passes. So at least, he could be used in the passing game. So, if you have any interest in fantasy, if your team has a chance to make a run in the playoffs, try to pick up Devin Neal in case Alvin Kamara is out for a while. But Saints were a disappointment this week. I thought they'd have a better performance here against a collapsing Falcons team, and they did not. They were a huge disappointment themselves. And Atlanta, and I'll get to Tampa in a second here. They're in the next game, but with Tampa losing and Baker Mayfield being injured, suddenly Atlanta is only 2 back, and they might have a chance. They play Tampa again, so they could catch Tampa potentially. We thought they were done, but apparently not. But yeah, we have Rams 34, Buccaneers 7. Not much to say about this game. It's completely one-sided. Rams dominated both sides of the ball. Baker Mayfield had no time to throw. He got hit a lot. He left the game with an injury, and he came back, and then he left the game again. He came back with a sling on his arm, so that doesn't look good. And the Rams, the Rams did almost all their scoring, 31 points of it in the first half. Devontae Adams is awesome. Matthew Stafford is the MVP front runner by far. He has to be at this point. So yeah, the Rams are the best team in the NFL. They're currently number one in my power rankings, which you could find on walterfootball.com. So check that out. But yeah, let me know what you think about these games. Am I am I just off base and not being able to vent about those backup covers? Please let me know. Otherwise, please hit like, subscribe, share this video, and like I said, visit walterfootball.com for tons of free content with the NFL. We're going to be back tomorrow breaking down my updated power rankings, which, like I said, they're on the site now, but I'll make some adjustments on Monday and also update for the Monday night game. So stay tuned for that, and I will talk to you in that video.